So grand, and I felt so glad when I held her close to me. I feel an ecstasy. I can hear a heartbeat. Oh, I can hear it. Love is wonderful. Love is for real. You got to be in it to know just how it feels. Love is beautiful. Love is for real. Ain't nothing sweeter, man, it's the sweetest way to feel. Then we went somewhere quiet, and oh, I felt so nice. When I kissed her lips, oh gosh, I'm in paradise. I can hear her breathing, oh, I can hear it. Love is wonderful, love is for real.
Nicky Shyrock Porter. Born and raised in a native to Guyana. During his childhood, Shyrock had been surrounded by music. As he describes, music was just a part of his life. For Shyrock, it was mostly folk music that was sang by his family and friends during weddings, courtships, gatherings with friends, birthdays, you name it. And though he sang along, tune after tune, none of it really triggered the thought in Shyrock that would change his life. None of this music compelled him to become what he eventually would become, an artist.
I was born in Guyana, the country, but in the country I was born in a village called Grove. Not really a village, it was on the east bank of the Demerara River. And I was born right by the river. Our properties owned by my grandparents. They owned a whole set of properties there. And I was born in a house where my mother lived, my aunt lived, and my grandparents. I thought my name was Malcolm. I went to school as Malcolm. I had another name, which was given to me on the street, because there was a movie called Knock on Any Door, and my best friend Azzy said, I am like Nick Romano.
Live fast, die young, and have a good-looking corpse.
Nick Romano was a bad guy. They assumed that I was bad. The only thing I liked to do was fight. They called me Nick, and the name stuck on me. Like everywhere I go, people would call me Nicky. So when I entered into the singing world, I liked the name, so it went along with my last name, Nicky Porter. But when I had a show in Suriname, and I went to get my passport, I realized my name was not Malcolm, neither my name was Nicky. And I didn't know how to get a passport. And I had a girlfriend working the registrar. She says she searched all the time, but she couldn't find to get my birth certificate. And then one day she called and she says, I found all the details, but the wrong name. I said, what the details? When I was born in 1940, the same day, 29th of December, but the person's name is Shadrach. But your father's name is Gerald, and your grandfather's name is Shadrach. She gave me all of this. I said, well, that's me.
For Shyrock, the journey to discovering music as a life goal would take some time. It was during the birth of soul music and Motown that Shyrock first became inspired. Groups like Tony Williams and the Platters lit a flame in Shyrock that would burn for a very long time. There was a new sound, one that pierced Shyrock's ears and made him experience deep emotions. Shyrock felt something within him that was alive and that pushed him to sing beautifully. But this feeling and this exercise of his natural-born gift was not able to be fostered for much longer. As Shyrock often says, life was not very nice to him, and the struggles of growing up in the conditions he grew up in did not allow him to prioritize music at all.
One time I decided that I'm not gonna let my mother cook. So I get eggplant, we call belange. I was there and I tried to cook it and I burnt it up and I cried. As a teenager, boy, I never cried because I wasn't supposed to be a softy, so to speak. I couldn't let the guys know that I cried. But when it came to my mother, that was it. If you did my mother anything, I would take your head off because that's how I felt about her. I think that died when my mother got a stepfather. His name was Alfonso. We gotta call him Uncle Fonso. And every time I would talk to my mother or ask her something, she would say, ask Uncle Fonso. One day he sent me to buy a cigarette at a corner store. And while I was there, something happened and I got in a fight because somebody was taking advantage of another person. I can't remember the story well, but I took the fight and I had to beat the person up. And the cigarettes were not in packet, they were loose. I think one of the cigarettes mashed up or something like that. So when I went home, he asked me where I've been so long with cigarettes and all that, and he slapped me. That was the end of my relationship with home.
In his teenage years, Shyrock had begun to develop his passion some more. He had decided to apply to a local radio contest. Eager to show what he could do, he applied and waited patiently. He then later received the word that he had won the competition. This not only gave Shyrock confidence in his abilities, but allowed him to see music as a real possibility for his future.
With my acting and my singing is copycats. With my acting, sometimes I gotta go and we are down in the corner, we're talking about a movie. So we act the movie out. And the guy comes through the door and did that and yes, go to, hey man, what you do? So we act the movie out. That's what we do in the straight corner. And I did that to my stepfather. When my stepfather wouldn't go out and go to the movie, the old guy said, what do you movie like? So I would stay and I would act out the movie to him. So maybe that's where I got a little bit of the American accent, because I used to do that a lot, act out the movie. And I used to sing calypso before I sang soul or country or whatever, because the jukebox used to be blasting every weekend. So we know all the songs, we know everything. So that's, it wasn't a big thing because we do that among ourselves. I want you guys to say do up, and I sing. So and we practice that, and that's how it was. And so I took it serious because everybody started saying, Nick, you got a good voice, man. You like Nat King Cole and all of that. So that's when I started doing it. And my favorite was the Platters. And then we went to Teensville at the radio station called Radio Demerara, and the announcer was Bertie Chancellor. And he had a show called Teensville. And as a teenager, I went to my group and I sang the Platters, Great Pretender. When I finished that, everybody, when I'm going home, the whole corner, the whole block, everybody, we don't say block, we say corner. Everybody, Nicky, we hear you going to, and I felt, I've never felt, I said, fighting never give me this. From the time that happened, and that's why I wanted to perfect it and to make it become like a real professional. Because all the singers, we had a lot of singers then, but they were not really, they were locals. They were not, in my mind, they were not as professional as the singers who coming from America. All the professional singers were Calypsonians. So I just want to be like the American singers. That was my hope.
When Shyrock was 28 years old, he walked into a club. Bright lights, packed house. The club was called the Dawn Palace. The Dawn Palace was a popular spot in Guyana, and Shyrock was booked there to do a show. Shyrock was determined to put on a great show, one that could get the crowd moving. He knew the importance of what performing at a club like this could mean for his career, so he put his heart and soul into it. He not only would go on to have an impactful performance, but it was one that would get the club owner's attention and have a job offered to him to perform there long term. Known for his electric moves and his ability to get a crowd going, he embraced a nickname that he would carry with him forever: Mr. Explosive. Nicky Mr. Explosive Porter eventually became responsible for the entertainment at this club and left a name and legacy for himself in Guyana forever.
I went on as Nicky Porter until I went to Canada. When I continued to pursue the career of music, drama, film, movies, everything you can lay your hand on in terms of the art, and I did it. But,
Okay. So we see this as Nicky Porter Shadrach.
Yeah.
Okay. In your hands, I can understand that album. How many albums have you released so far since you've been abroad?
I made 2 albums. One is called Bottom Line, and one is called, the one you saw just now was called Survivor. A kind of reflection of my life, Survivor. There's a very good cut on it called Daddy Don't Go. And other part of my life, the way I was brought up in Guyana, struggling. Even the family that I'm with now is like my family. But they know how I struggled in this kind of a life to make it to whatever I want to do. And that's why today it is very important to me for me to talk to kids, to let them know that they can do whatever they want to do. Whatever the scope is out there for them to do, they just have to seek within themselves for that ability. And when they have discovered that ability, then put it to use.
After his success as Mr. Explosive, Shadrach continued to pursue his musical passions. Soon he found himself on a new venture, in a new country, meeting new people. He found himself in Toronto, Canada. Music was always Shadrach's thing, who believed he could be successful anywhere. Nicky Porter had grown a name for himself back in Guyana with his big hit, Hustler, and when he went to Canada, he wanted to make his mark there as well.
With me right now is Canadian entertainer Shadrach, who some of you may remember as Nicky Porter. Well, he's joined us in the studio to have a little chat about his new album and to perform some of his songs for us. Shadrach, welcome to Caribbean.
Thank you.
First of all, let's start talking briefly about your career in the music industry. You went from being a journalist to being a musician. Why the drastic change?
It didn't really change. I am both. I started out being a reporter because I loved it. And then I switched to music because I loved it too. And I find the two of them are inseparable because they both deal with communication, dealing with people, the different aspect of reporting to people. You can either do it by the media or you can do it with a song.
Well, now you're doing definitely with
I'm doing
by
it with
songs,
a song.
yeah. And you write most of your music now, the album we're going to be hearing.
Sure.
All of your music.
Yeah.
The album we're going to be listening to in a few minutes. What inspires you to write? Like, how do you get from thoughts to paper? Like, how do you transfer them?
You wouldn't believe it, but I get the idea in my head, but I walk to get the rhythm, to get the feel of the music, and then I get the words after. Maybe I get a few words together, like a chorus line. That's the idea that I get what I want to say. But I get the song from walking the street, regardless of the weather.
So it's just a matter of taking a long walk and working out the song?
That's right. Whether it's cold or hot, I just walk. You know.
Well, it's good exercise for you, too.
Yeah.
I've noticed that you focus a lot of your music now in recording in studios as opposed to doing live entertainment. Why do you prefer the studios as opposed to nightclubs?
It's not really to prefer one before the other. The point is, if you have a record or you've got a hit, you can make certain demands. If you're just going out there, it's just like another singer going looking for a job, looking for a work where people can say, oh, we don't need you, come up tomorrow. I always believe in respect. Like I respect people, I want them to respect me as an artist. So like you go there, I can sing, you go out there, you actually like begging, so I want to do it. Give me a chance, you know. I don't believe in that too much. So what I did, I go out my own and I decide, well, I'm going to make a record.
Well, you've taken your career right across the country, right across Canada, as well as the West Indies,
That's right.
Cuba, South America, which is quite an area to span. Where do you see your career going in the future? Where do you want it to go?
Well, I want to be comfortable. I want to be able to sit down and just do what I know how to do best, my music. And if you don't have, like, the economics, you can't have that comfort. You always have to be out there, forgive me for using the word hustling. You know, I mean, you got to be out there hustling to make a buck.
But isn't that the plight of musicians, those to the
right,
side?
you see, that's it. So I want to be in a position where I can say, okay, I can live with this. So I'm going to sit down now and concentrate on making my kind of music, my brand, my music, Shadrach's music. You know, that is my goal.
Well, that's what I find unique about your album. It's not one particular style of music. It's a bit of everything.
No, because I think that I can communicate with everybody and anybody. I went about and doing this album like that. It can please the very old and the very young.
Okay, well, let's have an example of some of that music right now, okay? You're going to be listening to Shadrach performing from his new album.
Gotta give me all of your love. I wanna feel it in my soul, like a garden in my heart, where every kiss will watch it grow, getting high on ecstasy. I want your love to cover me, 'cause my heart's on fire, honey, make me feel better. Your love is what I need, 'cause my body's so hot and this feeling won't stop. Only your love can rescue me. Now I got you in my arms, and I know I won't let go. What your body's saying to mine, while we're moving to and fro, I can feel your hand on my spine. Oh, my darling, don't say no, 'cause my heart's on fire, honey, make me feel better. I don't know what to do, 'cause my body's so hot and this feeling won't stop. I need your love to see me through. While the lights are turned down low and the music playing soft and slow, let's take a chance. Come on, let's dance. Touch me, hold me. Honey, make me this feeling won't stop. I need your love to see me through. 'Cause my heart's on fire and it made me feel better. Your love is what I need. 'Cause my body's so hot and this feeling won't stop.
The guy was good. The guy was good. Believe me.
He can do things. He can make things happen, and that's what he did with his music in the end. When I heard of Nicky, he was doing some wonderful things I wish I could have done, like creating your own music, getting bands to do that. That was difficult at the time, but Nicky seemed to have had, and still has, a driving force, influential kind of instinct. He can do things. He can make things happen, and that's what he did with his music in the end. When I heard his first single, I was very impressed because it was not about love in a way, but more in the life form, the message in his music.
Well, I certainly knew him as a singer, and I certainly knew him as somebody whose music, I think, had more depth and, to the circumstances.
He was forefront more than a lot of artists, so to speak, in Ghana. I mean, he tried and, to encourage them, but he was serious with his music. And, the people accepted his music very well.
He was creative. He never did covers from, Otis Redding. He did his own thing. And that was very impressive for a lot of musicians. A lot of musicians followed that after. They followed him with creating stuff, creating their own music, writing their own stories. Even in the Calypsonian world.
I used to be a fighter, a street fighter, and I left my mother's home because my stepfather slapped me. And when I was growing up, a man don't slap another man. And because of the love for my mother, I didn't know to handle it, because if somebody slapped me, I would go all out and beat them to death, or I don't know, and do whatever. So it was a situation where I turned that situation into a love song rather than into a song of vengeance. So to watch a big man cry is if your love leave you. Watch a big man cry. Never ever been to a place like this before. Where the saints see you lights and the people dancing all over the floor. And the drunk at the bar just kept on saying, oh, give me some more. And he kept on drinking, and the party was swinging. Everybody was
It was in Canada where he met now longtime friend and colleague, Tony Castrilli. He met Tony through a friend who wanted to introduce them to each other after hearing Shavrock's talents for singing and songwriting and Tony's talents for playing. Them meeting could not have been more rewarding for both their lives.
And there was a gentleman on Eglinton West near Marley who had a music shop called Gemini Records, and his name was Anthony Dehaney, and we referred to him as Bunny. And I received a call one day from this gentleman with a deep voice telling me that he got my number from Bunny, and that his name is Shadrach, and he would like to get together with me because he wanted to record some of his tunes. So what I did at the time, I said, sure, sounds good. And I have a journal, as you can see, 1983 here is when it took place, where I would write my students' names in there, the time of the day that they would be coming in for their classes. So the first entry here, which was Tuesday, May 24th at 10 a.m., I have written here Shadrach, 2 songs, and underneath there, slow. So there were 2 slow tunes that he wanted to work on, and he also gave me his phone number, and I wrote down his phone number here. And I said, okay, fine. Tuesday, May 24th, 10 a.m.
After finally meeting up to create music, they worked on a song together, the Terry Fox song, based on Terry Fox, who was a Canadian hero.
One of the songs at the very start was the song for Terry Fox, because what brought him to Canada was a song he did for Jimmy Jones that, got him to come to Canada. And then coming to Canada at the same time, Terry Fox was in the front pages of things that were happening with him, running across Canada and having cancer and all of this. And he brought such a different perspective than Canadian. This guy's a legend. This Canadian, they should crown him hero. And he crowned him hero was the song he did for Terry Fox.
After gaining attention for its compelling and emotional storytelling, the Terry Fox song had done so well it had been chosen to be honored in the official Canadian government archives, which honors its country's heroes. This was a huge win for Shavrock and Tony, and a monument in their friendship. Shavrock recalls that at some point, he began to develop a love for television, acting, and theater. He remembers seeing an actress once on television and asking himself, why can't I do that too? And from there, he started to perform in theaters with different theater companies. His first show was performing as Marcus Garvey, the African-American freedom fighter. But it was his second role that really solidified him as an actor and propelled his career in the field of acting. It was the classic Shakespeare play, Midsummer's Night Dream, where he played the lead role. The play would go on to win multiple awards and be recognized as one of the top plays in Canada. From there, Shavrock started to get television roles and film roles. Shavrock really loved acting. He remembers at one point during his journey believing that he was actually a better actor than he was a singer. If I didn't get to Hollywood with my music, I wanted to get there with my acting. Through these TV and film roles, Shavrock not only developed his gift and love of acting, but also developed good friendships. He remembers one friendship in particular with the actor Charles Branson, who he acted alongside in films such as A Family of Cops. After the days of Mr. Explosive, entering Shavrock's next journey in life as a man, Porter found himself falling out of music and into another world. Through the various connections Shavrock had built over his life, from street kid in Guyana to Mr. Explosive, he eventually became a figure of cultural influence in his country. Receiving attention from his country's president and administrators, he was asked to represent his country and will be a sort of ambassador for Guyana, as he was taken under the wing of his home country's political leaders. It seemed going into politics made sense for his next life mission. This slowly took over the bulk of his time and made it very difficult for him to spend time making records and performing. But that talent and experience never was lost when it came to Shamrock. Music always stayed with him forever. Even through his journey in life, is not only an artist, but as a politician, an author, an actor, and even an elder. As Shamrock describes, music was easy. I still play music when I go to bed. I put a bit of culture in my music. I did country, soul, rock, everything. Given his successes in various fields of work, Mr. Explosive seems fitting for a man of many talents. With original recordings and composition, Shamrock's songs are still sung to this day. Shamrock continues to inspire us all as he has so many before. With a life full of unsurety, passion, struggle, and storytelling, music brought Shamrock everywhere he was needed. And for that, we are all thankful.
The guy was good. The guy was good. Believe me.
He can do things. He can make things happen, and that's what he did with his music in Guyana.
Listening back to his songs, like the years have gone by like crazy. You even appreciate them more because they're really from the heart. You could see the heart of Shamrock. He really has a massive heart that really comes through in his lyrics and his songs.
His music was far before the times.
Nicky had a strong sense of, well, I'm doing something which has the component of artistry and creativity with it.
Everybody says he's a Leninist, but everybody know where he's from. He got a piece of land.
The press never stayed quiet about this great artiste, and during the era of the Jim Jones tragedy, he was mentioned all over the world. The World Folio paints a vivid picture of Guyana's cultural landscape. It outlines the historical influences that shaped the nation, from colonial rule to the modern era, and how these have contributed to the development of its music scene. Nicky Porter's career is presented as a reflection of Guyana's cultural diversity. African rhythms, Indian melodies, and European folk elements. By blending traditional sounds with contemporary genres like reggae, calypso, and soul, Porter has helped preserve the cultural legacy while making it accessible to new audiences.
Like if I hear Nicky Porter's song, I can tell right away that's a Nicky Porter song.
Thank you for joining me today on this journey of Shamrock Porter, aka Nicky Porter, aka Mr. Explosive.
All them men who were murdered and all the women died. I tell you, who killed Jimmy Jones? Tell me now. If he kill everybody, who killed Jimmy Jones? Somebody's gotta know. Somebody gotta know. Hey you, come here. Bring me the brew. And you, take some too. No, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. No, Jimmy. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad, I don't want to die. You take some Kool-Aid and Sanicide. It's good for the mind. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. Suddenly, Mr. Larry Layton was charged with the Ryan's murder, while Stephen Jones and Charles Beckman bore the Amos slaughter. But tell me who pulled the trigger, who shot the Reverend Jones, and why did he shout for murder before he rested his bones? I tell you, who killed Jimmy Jones? Tell me now. If he kill everybody, who killed Jimmy Jones? Tell me. If he kill everybody, somebody's praying for the temple, but who's praying for Jimmy Jones. Somebody warn the angels, cause Jimmy is a going home. He won't ask no question, and he don't ask you why, but he'll murder the whole of heaven, and I watch them angels die. I tell you, who killed Jimmy Jones? Send me the letter. I want to know who killed the Reverend Jimmy Jones.
They just don't seem to stay together. I want to tell you a story about my little girl who I taught her to sleep one night when her mom and I had a fight. We had a quarrel the night before. The children in their room, Lord, and we were alone. We made a decision that we must part. Then I heard someone crying to break their heart. I opened the room and I realized my little girl was awake, tears in her eyes. She said, Daddy, don't go. Daddy, don't leave. Well, I couldn't move, I was hypnotized, and I just stood there with the tears in my eyes. She said, Daddy, don't go. We love you so. Oh, Daddy. Then the thoughts came rushing back to me of days that I'd spent without my daddy. It was so hard to grab a bite. I lived on the streets, so I had to fight. My clothes were torn.